Something that's very striking about the creative process is how naked it forces you to be. You have to get up on stage or on the piece of paper and just really pour yourself into the medium.
I am the law.
You have to make decisions that might not pan out.
I knew you'd say that.
You've got to really commit to something.
Emotions. There ought to be a law against them.
I think that's one of the things that trips people up about bad movies. Why there's such a fixation. Like, nobody sets out to make a deliberately bad movie. They just kind of happen from a bunch of mistakes piling up or a bunch of decisions not carrying through. Good intentions and too many cooks in the kitchen is how you end up with something like 1995's Judge Dredd. There's been way too much conversation about the differences between the comic and the film and all the on-set drama. Instead of all that, we'll be focusing specifically on some of the thematic proposals and pitfalls of the film. We need to examine the aesthetics that this film employs, such as brutalism, an architectural movement that is controversially identified by the way it separates the individual from the structure, with its anonymous brushed concrete facades and air of discomfort. Then there's a whole fascist iconography thing. Judge Dredd takes place in a fascist society. Law has become a civic religion.
All of these things you see here are toys. At the end of the day, when you're all alone in the dark, the only thing that counts is this: the law. For the few of us that survive to old age, the proud loneliness of the long walk. A walk that every judge must take outside these city walls, into the unknown of the cursed earth, and there spend your last remaining days taking law to the lawless.
The judges in the story are depicted more than just beat cops and enforcers. They're warrior monks, trimming the fat from society, smashing heretics, and going into the cursed earth to spread the word. If this all sounds super goofy, that's because fascism, by its very design, elevates the state to the position of divine right and promotes brute force to solve most, if not every problem in society. People giving you trouble downtown? Shoot them. Think an entire race is at fault for the plight of your nation? Industrialize their executions. People living alternative lifestyles? Beat them up and bully them until they play by your model of society. So it's weirdly subversive. All the super over-designed costumes and giant buildings are actually weirdly accurate depictions of a fascist cyberpunk society that praises law like it's the word of God. The issue is, it doesn't feel like anyone told the script about this. I'm gonna have to put the big picture stuff aside for a minute and explain the nuts and bolts of why the script doesn't really work. So in most stories you want to set up,
you either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
And pay off.
Going to join your wife?
So when Judge Dredd at the beginning of the story says,
Emotions. There ought to be a law against them.
It stands to reason that by the end of the film, he will discover the merit of emotions, empathy, and nuanced justice. But he doesn't. At the end of the film, he just gets promoted, kisses the girl, and does this. Which is especially weird because Schneider says this at the beginning of the movie when witnessing a riot.
It's better than prison.
What the viewer's supposed to infer from the prison riot looking images is that Mega City 1 is a prison, and the judges are their wardens. Society has become so hyper-industrialized and controlled that it is indistinguishable from captivity. But it doesn't deliver on that either. So you've got themes that are set up and don't pay off, or you've got themes that are set up.
The law. And you will be alone when you swear to uphold these ideas.
And pay off in the totally wrong way.
Forever.
Glorifying the civic religion in this cruel and oppressive society. What undercuts the film's commentary the most is its antagonist, Rico, a man who used to be a judge and was imprisoned by Dredd. But the thing is, he doesn't seem to actually have a guiding ideology other than a really convoluted plan to take over the city by creating super judge clones. His only line referencing any of the themes in the film is this near the end of the climax.
Guilty to the charge of being human when we could have been gods!
In a movie that doesn't really tackle the theological questions of God itself, and on top of that depicts its judges as bringers of divine justice, this is especially confusing. Is it bad for us to play God? Why in that case do judges have absolute power? And why is this depicted as a good thing? I mean, that's what's especially baffling about this movie. The performances are all the way up, and I mean all the way up.
Judge Dredd.
The evidence has been falsified! It's impossible! I never broke the law! I am the law!
But it actually kind of works. Stallone and Asante can do big performances, and Max von Sydow too. The cast can carry the script, but where it really falls apart is the subtext of the writing and the way it's arranged, and, well, the set pieces. I mean, green screen Rob Schneider, judges. So I've spent the last 4 minutes just tearing this film to pieces. But the funny thing is, it's almost good. It's almost over the edge of a good sci-fi epic with cool societal commentary and questions about the future. I don't want to just tear this movie apart. There's enough channels that do that. Instead, I'm going to propose how the film could have been saved without even redoing the production. Just some quick editing and writing tricks. The first thing to do is the score. This scene in particular is a really good springboard for the themes. The heroic, rousing music implies that we're supposed to be thrilled by what's happening on screen, blown away by how glorious it is. Well, let's try switching out the music. Boom, total tonal shift. The second thing is that Rico needs better onus. The speech here.
Why did you judge me? Why did you judge me?
You killed innocent people.
The means to an end.
You started a massacre.
I caused the revolution.
You betrayed the law.
Law!
Needs to have a better statement about the wrongness of the society, about its intense cruelty and how it is not meant to actually fix the ills of society but beat up the disadvantaged so that they quit revolting against the nobility and government. It's coercive rather than persuasive society. Like, even with one line you can fix this. This society is bullshit, you're goose-stepping bastards that just beat people up and call it law and order. Also, while you're at it, cut out this.
You want fear? I'm fear. You want chaos? I'm the chaos. You want a new beginning? Here. I am the new beginning!
It makes him seem less like an actual antagonist and more like a cartoon maniac. Like, if he really has motivation, when this happens, it's actually scary, because you can believe the motivation behind the crime. It gives it weight. Judge Dredd is later in the Cursed Earth for, like, literally forever. And we get introduced to the Angel family for really no reason. Cut that out, like all of it. Crash the plane, wander around the Cursed Earth for a bit, and then get into the vent scene. And here,
One caught, or till you apologize.
The law can't apologize.
That's just it. You're not the law anymore. Now apologize. I think I deserve that.
I've never apologized.
actually have Dredd apologize to Fergie, as he begins to realize he was a cudgel rather than a man. That'll be a checkpoint for his arc of
Emotions. There ought to be a law against them.
cut out the speeder chase and the superheroics. And while you're at it, at the end of the movie, Judge Dredd needs to acknowledge that the system he wants embodied is broken. Have him tear up a law book or something. Or when he gets promoted, he'll promote true justice instead of textualism. This doesn't fix some of the smaller issues such as the weird simulated slow motion shots, or Judge Hershey becoming Dredd's love interest for what seems like no reason, but at least it course corrects the film to just be a little more consistent and snappy. The biggest flaw is that it wants to be Buzz Lightyear and Blade Runner at the same time, when both of those things are in direct opposition to one another. Write consistently, do setup and payoff, understand what your story is about, and deliver. Then maybe you'll do justice by your intentions.
Court's adjourned.
Thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want me to analyze any other films, just drop a recommendation in the comments below. Keep swimming, and have a good one.